it gives us really a great satisfaction that we have got a very good response from the student of new regulation. We have approx 575 students has joined this program, and successfully they will complete e-EDP program. So in today's session, we are having with us our respected and beloved Vice President Sir, Nagendra D. Rao, Vice President ICSI. I would request her to share a few words with the student and give some great thoughts and share some knowledge with the students. Sir.
Yeah, very good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. Very good morning. In fact, to all the faculty members and all the staff members of ICSI, Nidhi, Shruti, and all others, as well as all the esteemed students, participants who are participating in this 15 days online EDP program. In fact, I think this is one of the requirement for you, so that you do your training so far as EDP is concerned prior to undergoing the 21 months training which is required under the new regulations. So at the outset, let me congratulate each and every 500 plus students who have joined for this EDP program, and I am sure that this particular program you would have learned many insights into the various aspects before you join a practicing firm or before you join any company, as to what is the requirement or what is that expectation of the employer is vis-a-vis with that of the student, and how the student should cope, how the student should be aware of, and how the student is the expectation of the student so far as the curriculum is concerned, so far as the subject knowledge is concerned, so far as academic knowledge is concerned, and also your practical exposure so far as various topics is concerned. I think today also you have topic on IBC and other aspects. I am sure that there are many good faculties who have come. There may be, in case if any students are facing any issues, I think that probably we may take some 5 minutes of time, so that in case if you have some issues or in case if you have some grievances, maybe we can redress those particular grievances, which is other than that of the regulations or rules or anything which you require as a student for the for the benefit of the for the student. So what is that? Many initiatives have been taken by ICSI, whether in terms of postponing of the exams in midst of the COVID, or in terms of online 15 days EDP, in addition to the other online, so extension being granted from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, request from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, similar who are regulators. Similarly, many programs have been conducted by the ICSI. The students are concerned. Similarly, there is another program which is going to be conducted with regards to all India quiz competition, which is going to start in the month of October. I request each and every student to kindly ensure and join, participate, and of course, there is also a reward and award so far as the students are concerned. So I would request all the students to join, whether in executive students or professional students, kindly join, so that that will also give you an opportunity in order to improve your subject knowledge, so that you are in touch with the subject, you are in touch with the course curriculum. And I am sure that the 15 days of online EDP would have added more value to what you have originally possessed. So I am sure that that would also help in honing your skills for meeting or your skill sets, so far that it will be easy for you whenever you join any PCS, or if you are joining any company secretary in employment, so that you are ready to cope up all the new challenges you are ready to learn all those issues, problems, and how to counter it, how to prepare yourself. So that will help you to make you a good, better, and best company secretaries in future. So one request I would urge all the students, that I would request all the students that please be proactive. No, because this is an course where you will find that unless you are proactive, unless you come out of your own thought process, understanding, not understanding, then only you will be in a position to learn. Otherwise, it will be very difficult, because professionals will be having various, what we say, commitments, timelines will be there. So within that particular timeline, you will have to, what we say, complete the formalities so far as the students are concerned. Now, I think one or two questions we will let us take it, and probably then we will, no, I would, then the faculties can take the classes as the case may be. So I think there are one or two questions which have come up. Sir, I would like to request you to please reduce the fee of certificate courses conducted by ICSI in various fields so that it can become affordable for all. This certificate courses, okay, let me just check up with the what is the exactly the fees which is charged. In fact, if the students, if there is any scope for reduction of any fees for such students are concerned, yes, let us see how best we can know and should get the fees reduced. In case if there is any scope for further reduction, then you have, I have completed 15 days academic program under modified training structure and switched over to new training structure. Kindly request you to give benefits that into this new training structure. So you will find that there was a question which was asked. There was one question which was asked to, in order to give your answer. There was one question which was asked so far as Tiger Woods is concerned. I know Tiger Woods, all of you are aware of, is a famous golfer, and you will find one of the question was asked about his secret of success. So his answer was practice, practice, practice. In 15 months training, the scope for the training was less compared to that of the 21-month training, whatever is there. Because in this 15 months training, again you are going to take leave, again you will be writing exams. So normally you will find 45 days of exams leave which is there. Further to it, you will find many course curriculum has been changed so far as 21 months training program is concerned, and you will be more exposed to the whole cycle of a corporate. In other words, whether it is an employed or companies practicing company secretary, in terms of the one particular cycle, maybe AGM, EGM, or in case of some companies also take postal ballot, so that you are well versed. Unless you are practicing more, unless you are exposed to the new corporate culture, it will not be it will be difficult for the student when he goes into the employment. So when he goes for the employment, naturally he will be, every employer expects that he should be ready. It is ready to, what we say, ready food, what we say, no? Instead of cooked food, ready to eat, what we say. So therefore you have to be not work in progress, but you have to be finished material, because expectation of the industry, expectation of the corporate is high, and because of new expertise, you will find that you should be having much more knowledge than what was there in the 15 months. So more practical exposure in 21 months compared to that of your 15 months, and more so you will find you are exposed to many more areas which was hitherto not there under the 15 months. Please provide updated practice question paper so that we can improve our learning and writing practice. Yes, maybe Shruti madam and Nidhi madam, you can take this particular point so and send it across to the academic department so that they can frame the questions so that it will be easier for them, so that more and more questions could be, more and more questions could be for the purpose, for the benefit of the students. So maybe in the various journals, various snippet journals, various journals, student company secretaries, you will find many the journals which are there. So some academic questions, they can also put it in their journal so that it will help our students. so that some 10 questions, 15 questions every month, there may be some 10 questions from each of the module, so that you can students to cope up with the what like questions may be there. Then please arrange to take mock test for practice. Let us see how best we can do it. Practice manual for direct and indirect tax. Practice manual for direct and indirect tax. Maybe we will have an online session, Shruti madam, maybe on direct and indirect tax for executive and professionals. You should have one session for the students like the classes. So only direct and indirect taxes, because many of the students may find it difficult. So you can think of so that it will be benefit for the students.
Sir,
Then in this EDP we found.
So we have in
talking about class.
So in classroom EDP we have GST and taxes.
You can send this. You can inform the moment. No,
Yes.
what you could do is the moment our class is over, after Bansalji's class is over, then you can update the students what are there, probably in the internet, how students should go about, how they should get themselves informative about various programs being conducted by ICSI. All those things you can just highlight briefly, you and Nidhi, so that it will be helpful. Okay. Then keep separate book for so and so. First thing I would request is shortcuts you should avoid. Many of them, we are also receiving many complaints that nowadays since students are writing in WhatsApp, since students are writing in so in the exams also, their replies or any communication what they are sending it to their clients, they are using shortcuts. So please avoid these shortcuts, because shortcuts will never take you anywhere. Please use the English properly. Please add more exam centers. Yes, there will be exam centers which are likely to be added, but exam centers, which area, which place, that has to be very categorical, because it again depends upon number of students who are appearing for the exams in those particular centers. You cannot please do not make a general statement, add more exam centers. Which are those areas, say whether in Delhi, whether in Gurgaon, whether in Bangalore, whether in Udupi, whether in Mangalore, whether in Chhattisgarh, whether in Raipur, Bilaspur, what is that area? You have to be very clear, so that it will help us, so that based on that, so you inform those to in the chat box, you can send a mail across, that will also help you. We found 90% theoretical knowledge, so that we study in the books and not practical knowledge. Please inculcate more practical knowledge. Shruti madam, please ensure that, please all the faculties, whoever we are taking, please ensure that there should be a mix of both practical as well as theoretical knowledge.
Yes,
so
sir.
that students would get benefit of this particular online classes.
Yes, sir.
I have purchased lecture. I haven't purchased lectures from outside. The ICSI has taken recently enough. They have covered the whole portion. Yes, definitely yes. But please understand, we are in the professional exams. Your requirement always will be more. It is not. You should be more equipped with latest information, latest knowledge. Please provide exam centers in Madhya Pradesh, in Satna. Okay. Shruti madam, these questions, please note it down, few of the questions,
Okay.
so that it will be helpful for us. Then you can forward it to me to my email ID, so that
Okay.
respective examination centers and all, we can help the students.
Okay,
Then
sir.
please, will exams will be conducted for December for sure? Yes, it is going to be conducted. There is no doubt. So far as December exam is to be conducted, because already unlock 4 has already started and participations are allowed. Supreme Court has also, I think, has given a decision that exams also needs to be conducted, because future of the student should not be affected. So I am hopeful, positive that exams will be conducted in the month of December. You are still in September. You should not think about exams will be there, exams will not be there. You as a student, your duty is to study and keep yourself updated. Don't do anything at a last minute. You have still 2.5 months time, 3 months time, whatever it is. Please ensure that you are now ready, prepared, so that you give your best for the exams. Certified courses. So there are many questions which are coming up. Once in case if anything is there, I will take it offline. thank you very much. I once again thank the ICSI. I thank all the students. What I would suggest to all the students, any issues, whatever are there, you can also write it to me, vp@icsi.edu, VP Vice President, that is vp@icsi.edu, and you can any queries or any issues are there, you can please no send it the email to me or to Shruti or to Nidhi. You can please send it. They will forward to me so that we can consolidate and send it to the respective department to address any of the queries. So I wish all the best to all the students for their future endeavors, and I am sure that you will do best. And this 15 days online training would be very helpful. I would not like to take much more time. I think since Mr. Bansal sir is already there, and I do not want to encroach upon his time. Thank you very much once again. I wish all the best to all the students. And any issues, you please write it down to my email ID or to Shruti or Nidhi. We will try to resolve as quickly as possible. So vp@icsi.edu. vp@icsi.edu is my email ID. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.
On behalf of the institute and on behalf of all the attendees, I would like to convey sincere thanks for taking time for this session. Thank you for attending, joining us is today's valedictory session and taking out time from your busy schedule. So now back to the session. Students, I would like to inform you, today we are having with us Dr. C.L. Bansal. Before starting the session, I would like to introduce Dr. C.L. Bansal. Dr. C.L. Bansal, a former senior professor in the area of law, governance and public policy at the Management Development Institute, MDI Gurugram. Holds a PhD in corporate governance from Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. He obtained his LLB also from University of Delhi. He is a fellow member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He holds a specialized postgraduate diploma in administrative law from Indian Law Institute, New Delhi. He got place in the merit in AMCOM examination of the University Business School, Punjab University, Chandigarh. He had worked as a customs officer on the basis of his selection in the Central Services in 1975. He also published various books in the area of law and management. He has also been associate as an adjunct faculty in business law with different IIMs at Lucknow and its Noida Center, IIM Raipur, Kashipur, Rohtak and Ranchi. He has been the course director for Advanced Management Program for senior directors in various PSU and private sector companies at MTI. In addition, he has trained senior armed forces officer of the rank of generals, air marshals and commodores for independent directors training program conducted by MTI on behalf of Directorate General of Resettlement Government of India. He has organized several management development program MDPs for senior officers, a number of public and private sector. As such, ONGC, BL, NPC, Punch Lawyer, Extract at MDI Gurgaon. I welcome you, sir, and I request you to please take the session further. Thank you so much.
Good morning, students. You heard your Vice President speaking on the procedural issues that you are facing. And the same kind of issues are faced by individuals when they decide to set shop and when they have to close it down. I was reading one article by Professor Govindarajan of Harvard Business School. In the last about 20 years, more than 80 companies in the world, basically the Fortune 500 companies. I hope you are aware of Fortune 500 companies, that 80% of them have died. And this phenomena is called the corporate mortality. The life of most of the organization nowadays all over the world is not beyond 15 years. There was a time when it was used to be about a century, 100 years. But now the lifespan of most of has come down to only 15 years, particularly in the area of technology. So in the context of this background, we have to as to the relevance of topic which has been given to me, which relates to two very different things. One is the beginning and the other is the end. Beginning is how to set up a business, or what is known as the startup. So what is this startup game? What kind of people are suitable for setting up business? Is it everybody's cup of tea? Can anybody start the business? What are the challenges? What are my experience in setting up business? And then secondly, there comes a time when the business may not be viable, or business otherwise may have to be sold off, closed down. So these two extremes, just as a person is born and ultimately he or she dies, similarly in the business area, businesses have to be set up. Sometimes these have to be sold off, and unfortunately, in certain cases, have to be made insolvent or declared bankrupt. So I take up the first part, that is the setting up a new business. Then what is the need for doing business? Can't we sit and enjoy life? If you look in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that there's nothing which I cannot get. Everything is available to me, but still I do the work. Because if I don't do the work, human beings whom I have created, they will follow me. And in that case, if they follow me, then I will be responsible for doing what is known as Varna Sankara. I will be guilty of doing a sin. I will be, okay, survive. This is what I'm coming to. You need money to survive. But there are lots of people who are surviving otherwise also. I don't want you to become recluses, because becoming a sadhu is one, because many people are opting for that also. And it is also a kind of a, let us say, a profession. It's also a kind of a profession. So work is needed for human beings, because from the time we are born till the time we die, the void is filled up only by business, by doing something. Now, these doing some things, maybe most of us go in for professions or employment, but then a very minuscule minority, they opt to do something of their own. Both of these have challenges. Both of these have their own level of satisfaction. So the question is, the second line, you will read that whether everyone does have the necessary equipment or the necessary wherewithal, which enables that person to set up an enterprise. Basically, it depends on the mental makeup. It depends on, because there are books written on this aspect. There is no school in the world a person to become an entrepreneur or to set up a business. You have to learn the basic things on your own, and certain things even depend on what is known as the destiny. I have used two terms here, IAS, not the IS generally we hear of. It is a, aspiring to become a servant. I am a servant. The mentality of a large number of people in this world is that let us get an employment. That seems to be an easy way out, which it is not. Particularly in a country like India, it's not that easy. And becoming an IAS, the administrative service, that is much more difficult. And then there is another set of people who aspire to become the bosses. I'm aware of a person who is in my own crowd of relatives, who did his IIT from Madras, who got a very good placement and was sent to work in a bank. He earned money, but he was not satisfied. He was not satisfied. He got a job. He was getting money, but he was not satisfied. He came back to Bangalore. For 2 years, he did nothing. But suddenly, he had an idea. I cannot reveal that idea. He had an idea. He floated that idea. Every Saturday in Bangalore, there's a meeting of angel investors. He spoke over there. Within half an hour, he had a funding of around 70 crore rupees, a small amount of funding. But the point is that particular funding has changed his life. Now he's busy into that. And many of these senior bigwigs, very high, they are after him. He's a young person. He's around 32 years of age. People are chasing him to ask as to what is the art, what is the trick that they can also set up a business like that. So friends, two sets of people. One, those who wish to and end up as servants. Sir, government, you don't have to approach. The government itself will approach you, because have to be recruited either through a competition, a open thing, because it is not a private talk. I was sitting in a college. Some girl came. She has done 2-3 MAs or MBAs through correspondence. And the principal and me were sitting with colleagues. I had retired from Delhi University, so she was roaming around. The principal, I said, this lady is roaming around. Please ask her as to what does she want. Then she said, okay, please tell me, what do you want? Is there any lecturer's vacancy in this institution? Madam, if we require, it's a government institution. If we require anything, obviously we'll publish a advertisement. You don't have to come to us, because if you require somebody, it cannot happen in the private. It has to be a public matter. So advertisement will be published. So do you expect that any ICE officer will be recruited in a private manner? You go to the UPSC and ask that, oh, sir, I need a... Let's not see. Firstly, I could not read the question which is asked, that the Baniyas are business minded. One, somebody has said that money is a must. So I do not know how to relate both the things. Money as a, Baniya is, how does the word Baniya came into being? Baniya, how do you become a Baniya? Baniya is a conservatism. There's a double approach for becoming a Baniya. One is earning. Earning is that you must focus on earning. And the most important is not only earning, but saving. Conservatism. Cut down your expenditure. Increase your income. You are only after, I heard my son was telling me that a person who is in the multinational is saying that the multinationals tell us that 60% must be spent and 40% must be spent. So then what is the conclusion? I said once then he will review the kind of advice which has been given to him. So business mind does not depend on surname. Yes. Okay, you are giving the answer yourself, so that makes my job very easy. I'm not a Baniya in the sense you are using it, friend. I'm a Baniya of a different kind. I combine many things. In my long life, I have been many things. But then everybody will have to do that. Not me. Everybody will have to do that. The kind we are going to build up and that has come up before us. Believe me, it will take a big examination, which will be tougher than company secretary examination. Life is a very tough kind of examination. To pass through this examination, you are the best of Baniya. Anyhow, so friends, the last sentence that I've used in the write-up is that a minuscule number of those thronging to Indian education institutions aspire for entrepreneurship. I have taught around half the IAMs in this country. And I'm surprised that most of the IMs have got converted into kind of placement agencies. The desire to learn is not there. The desire to learn is not there. That is why even Ahmedabad, IIM Ahmedabad is supposed to be the Makkah of all the B schools. Even there I find students whose knowledge about things is appalling. I mean, I'm surprised that they may be good in technology, but as regards I tell you, what happens is today, the accounting, we still talk of depreciation, FIFO and LIFO method, but as regards the digital or the technology companies, how far these concepts are relevant, we never try to revise our books, we never try to update our concepts. That is a basic problem. I have been interacting with the company secretaries also. One of my friends had been the president, and I remember in the year 2005, when he was the president, he gave me a proposal. I was surprised at that time. I didn't know that he's having a mind of an entrepreneur. He's saying, Basir Saab, I'm going to set up this firm. You must be knowing that firm. That's why I'm not taking the name of the firm. He said, I'm going to set up a firm. I was surprised. Will it be really good? He's doing a good job. He was getting good money. He was one of the broking firms. He was getting good money at that time. But then he thought of leaving. And today he's having a roaring practice. So practice is no less than a business. Practice is no less than a business. But the practice means if you have to stand out from the ordinary rut of people, your level of these questions to me do
So probably there is a problem with the audio. Students are not... Sir?
And speaking at the highest of my pitch of the voice, then so I'm having message that you're not audible. So how to become audible? I'm not a technical man, so please pardon me.
No, that happens with bandwidth problem. So doesn't matter. We're able to hear you now. Please continue.
Yes, I'm getting message that now you're audible. It means the fluctuations keep on happening.
Yes.
So because of, that's why sometimes I've been advised by IIT Delhi, because I speak for IIT Delhi now. The video should not be on because that consumes a lot of your bandwidth. So if you suggest, then I can. So I was talking about this, that one has to learn on one's own. One has to create wealth on one's own. And the wealth will never come through jobs. Friends, take it from me. The wealth will never come from a job. What at the most you can make in 35 years of job. And today's jobs, you do not know. At my time, once you joined at the age of 21, you retired at 60. So you had around 40 years. In teaching, it used to be 65 or 70. So you had 50 years to earn your money. But in today's time, one youngster was saying, sir, if we can work up to the age of 50, I think we'll consider we are very lucky. Yes, it is. Because you never know what kind of a situation may suddenly crop up. Companies die down. That is the basic problem. The companies die. Bad ideas are implemented. And when the bad idea is implemented and people are employed, it means not only the venture goes down and the people who are associated with that venture suffer because their jobs are gone. And in the market to find a job within a small amount of time is just not possible. Institutional support may be available. Our country has has set up the institutional support. You may get the finances, etc. But the point is, idea has to be your own. No angel investor will put money. One of my colleagues is an angel investor. And they were having a discussion in Bangalore where one idea was given by Uber that we are going to have intercity Uber operations. They had gone there to fund. It came in the Economic Times. I'll not take the name of my colleague. He's an established person. He's IITian and I am Ahmedabad pass out. So what happened later on when this idea succeeded? The wealth of the people who had invested went up by around 100 times. And they said that how is it that we are in the area of angel investment and the idea did not strike us. They thought it's totally a foolish idea. But it was such a great idea that people who invested over there, they are now rolling in wealth. But these two people who are very wise, very well educated, and they committed a mistake. They couldn't make the money. So more than anything else, what is needed is to go in for an analysis of one's own self in terms of this what. So do you have what it makes, it takes it to be an entrepreneur or a person who can set up a business? Do you have those kinds of qualities? This has to be examined. So what is SWOT analysis? So SWOT, obviously, the first word is the skills. Your qualification, your quality, your aspirations, experiences, abilities, interests, all these need to be reflected. You have to sit silently, close your eyes. God, I'm going to get into this particular enterprise. Do I have the necessary wherewithal? Am I capable? Do I have the perseverance? So all these things have to, so these are the questions put to yourself. It's not the asking a question to the other party. Ask it yourself. Do you have all, somebody was asking Newton that you are such a successful scientist. How do you afford to become like this? He said, I don't think I have any special qualities. The only quality which God has given me is perseverance. To stick to an idea and to go on despite all the odds. People make fun of you. People smile at you that what is this stupid person doing? But later on, after a few years, many of them will be coming to you, address you as sir, and then the kind of satisfaction that you will get. It's not because they are kind of paying respect to your body or to your looks. They are paying respect to whatever is internal to you, which is personal to you. And that person cannot be even shared with your own children. So weakness of a new entrepreneur is generally the lack of funds. But I have noted in the previous slide that institutional support is fortunately available in our country. There are lots of agencies providing funds. So if your idea is good, then even private people will fund your kind of a venture. Opportunities lie in the uniqueness of your business idea, the confidence that you do have, changes in the technology, the technological disruptions, they provide an opportunity. You have to assess that. But for that, you have to be a person well versed in technology. Then the economy also gives you new ideas. Like in the COVID times, many ladies now in their offices are making the kind of covers you need for covering your nose. Demography, changing the demography. Older people, then obviously the things which older people need, you can go into manufacturing or procuring, and then society. Society also thinking as the society becomes more prosperous. Kind of eating out, the kind of dressing, the kind of the clothes children purchase for children, all these things undergo a change. So it is watching the society, looking into the economic changes, looking into the demographic changes, the technological disruptions. So all these things may provide you ideas as to how. Okay, so threats. What are the threats? Threats based on our own sense of insecurity. What if I fail? If I fail, that is one idea, and that is obviously the scariest of ideas. Because if you are alone, if you don't have anybody else to fall back upon, in that case, you have to think of that. Because one cannot destroy oneself just because he wants to be in business. Then it is better to combine business with some kind of a part-time job or some kind of a job. So don't jump into one thing. Think rationally, think of your background, and it should not amount to committing suicide. External pressures. So external pressures are parents particularly. The parents really, they say, okay, this person has done that. Why can't you be like that? Nobody is similar. No two persons are similar. They have their own backgrounds. They have their own thinking aspirations. Family needs also compel you to sometimes withdraw. because family compulsion, you have children, you have EMI to pay, you have some other obligations. In that case, obviously, a new enterprise, establishment of a new enterprise may not be your cup of tea. Then the unforeseen events may also make a person to withdraw. So all this, you have to have an overall study of yourself, or of the society around you, of the economy around you. All these things are essential before you can take a plunge into what is called the establishment of a new enterprise. Entrepreneurial personality traits are insight into the human nature. People who know human beings, they can really come up. They can the world knowledge, not the bookish knowledge, the world knowledge, knowing the world, insight into the business models, what kind of businesses have succeeded in the recent times, knowledge of the industry into which one is going to enter. I know people who took up a job first. Those who took up a job in some industrial sector they were interested in, and after having learned the tricks of the trade, then they established something small, and then later on they expanded it. Knowledge of the products and services. You have to have a greater knowledge of the products. Business and management experience has also to be there. I've seen people who, after doing their chartered accountancy or doing their company secretaryship or even the law, they come to learn management tricks. They go and attend ISB, pay 50 lakh rupees, learn these tricks, analytics, for example, having some experience on strategy. Because these things are not learned from the books. Books is nothing. Books are the experiences of the people who have written something on their own. Those are the experiences of the writers. You have to have an experience of your own so that you write this. Like the person Syntax, the person who established the company Syntax, he was a pass out from Ahmedabad, went to America, saw the plastic, these things, tanks, overhead tanks, and then he thought that why can't this be manufactured in India? It will be a great success. But then he came to India, he manufactured, didn't sell. He was really shocked. He said, I thought that the which I borrowed from America can be successfully replicated. It did not succeed. But then to his good fortune, he took this idea to a public sector unit. Sir, you are going to have these housing units, so can you purchase? They found the idea to be really good. So they said, okay, we're going to place the order. And then from that day on, he never looked backward. So sometimes your destiny, your mind. So marketing experience is also a necessity. Marketing experience, financial insight. Somebody said you are a bania. Financial insight is not that you can make a balance sheet or make cash flow analysis or something. No, it is. Finance is something which must be racking your brain all the time. When you sleep, think of finance, think of money. And the money thinking, Lakshmi will, one day, you will have a kripa. He says, okay, this man is asking for something or the other, so let me now oblige him. Basically, you keep on demanding and it will come. Finance, books, plus prayer, and plus thinking of this particular thing. Now, the problems in setting up a new business. Lack of personal resources. I've told this. Lack of consulting knowledge. There are not very many consultants. Lack of financial knowledge. Then high psychological stress. Some people get stressed easy. So if you are that kind of a person, please avoid getting into any new enterprise, because psychological stress will take a toll on your health. Lack of knowledge in controlling. If you're not a good controller, you are a person who is very docile. So in that case, please keep your hands off the new business. Lack of legal and marketing knowledge. Legal knowledge is also essential. And at least in that area, you're fine. Fear of failure. So I've already mentioned that this is a psychological problem with most of the new persons who are getting into a new venture. Problems in customer acquisition. Where our customers are, who are they, what will they pay, how many they are in number. So these are the questions to be asked when you are going to set up a business. The startup strategy. Two golden pointers for would-be entrepreneurs will be: strategy without tactics is the slowest lane to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. If you know only tactics, chalaki, not chalaki, strategy. Chalaki will not make you successful. I know of a shopkeeper in my area. And the words he uses, you will immediately make out that this person wants to kind of deceive you. So tactics will not be that great. What you have to be conversant with and you're proficient with, that is the strategy. So you require a strategy to succeed. Nupur, this is not with me. This is a problem at your end. Because it is off and on. The complaints come. So it means only certain. So approaches to starting a new business, depending on one's mental makeup, entrepreneurs may implore you to adopt any of the following approaches. One is the intuitive approach, which is adopted by, the people who are opportunistic or possess a belief in one's idea, resort to minimal planning, but have the benefit of being resourceful and capable of setting up fast. So if you are a resourceful person and you are really strong in your belief, you are very optimistic. One of your president was like that only. So he had an intuitive approach. He had such a strong guts that he set up shop. And now he's very, very successful. So this is intuitive. Something within you tells you that you are going to succeed. If your conscience is telling you that you are going to be a successful person, nothing can stop you. Even God will help you. If you have watched so any questions there? We are going to provide you these slides. There are no copyright on this, so I've written for sharing with the students. So you'll have the copy of this. I request the institute to provide you copies of this. Then intuitive approach is that you have the guts and you have the utter confidence in yourself. So nobody can stop you from succeeding. Not even God. This person who was Shakuni, even till the end, he was busy with planning something or the other. And Lord Krishna looked at him. He says, this person is really too much. I'm really impressed. Although he is into doing evil, but he's doing the evil task with a lot of conviction. Sir, your question has gone. Please, can you again write it so that I can see your question? Because it comes and vanishes in a second. Before I could read and get the purport of it, it goes away. So if you could please you can then or you can speak it to me so that I could be in a position to answer. Methodological approach. So methodological means it's a forte of the persons who have clear goals and plans. Read Bhagavad Gita 1. Secondly, don't think of others. Consider that all other people are fools. And if you're convinced that others are fools, they really are. I tell you, 97% of the people don't look into their qualifications. They include qualifications are nothing. Qualifications are nothing. The real qualification is within a person. You cannot frustrate. You cannot frustrate me. You cannot. Nobody can. So if you have that kind of a strong belief in yourself, nobody can kind of frustrate you. So that stand that I will succeed, come what may, God is with me. Believe me, then God also listens, and his capacity is the strongest. If he can hear the voice of an ant, why not that of a human being? Methodological means you are very very clear your goals. You have clear goals. You have clear plans. You minimize the risk. What I told you, Banias, you minimize the risk. Minimize the risk. It means if you think that you are not going to succeed, avoid the thing. Avoid the thing. If your heart and your mind says we may not succeed, don't do that. So don't do that. Some risk will always be there, but getting into the riskiest of venture, you are going to burn yourself. You are going to burn yourself. And thereby ensuring success, but may develop cold feet when they make self-analysis. Some people think very bravely, but when they think of the reality, suddenly they say, my God, this is the thing, paralysis by analysis. So I have read this term in Wharton School, they call it the paralysis by analysis. You analyze and become paralyzed. My God, then you attend one program, we take a program on this in MDI, it's a program MDP. Reveal a lot of things. These are personal to me and very difficult to, you will die. You will die. Then we go to the approaches to starting the incremental approach. This is adopted by the following kind of people. They have clear intention. Now, what is this incremental approach? Some people, in order to minimize the risk, what do they do? Your OPC, as a matter of fact, if you look into the OPC, when this idea was floated by the person who was the Irani Saab, Mr. Irani was seen many youngsters in Bombay that they say, sir, whenever we write some kind of a code, then immediately the entrepreneur says, this code belongs to me because you have developed the code while working in my place. So it belongs to me. I'm the owner of this. So this copyright is owned by you because I'm your employer. So I own the copyright. So it is with this kind of a problem that Irani Saab, when he wrote this Companies Act 2013, he said that let us give these youngsters a chance. So why can't we allow them to have something better than, let us say, the partnership, and better than the private limited company? So the OPC, the idea of one-person company, that okay, set up one-person company, and then in that case, whatever you are developing, develop it through that company. So it will be that company's idea, so that tomorrow, if somebody says, no, you have developed this while working as an employee in my organization and it belongs to this organization, we have the copyright, so you can cope up with that. So OPC gives you a chance that, okay, 50 lakh rupees of paid up capital, 2 crore rupees of your, so yes, this is what I'm thinking. I gave the idea initially. So if you tell me, then I can stop the video and then maybe we save some. So let's switch it off. So they minimize the risk by doing the startup work during spare time, so as to develop proper understanding of the business in which they plan to indulge. If they plan to indulge. So remember when in 1991 the economy opened up, the number of corporate secretaries in the country was very, very limited. And being a teacher in Delhi University, so in that case, we used to finish our classes before noon. That is by 11 or 12, it was over. Then why not take up some consultancy work? I had that kind of idea in my mind. And then when I went to Connaught Place to contact people, they said, okay, sir, part-time, 2 hours. And the kind of payment which was coming, it was more than the salary I was getting as a regular employee of the Delhi University. So the point is you have to extend yourself. And once you decide to extend yourself, then I don't think money could be a problem. Money cannot be a problem. So enter business after high degree of preparedness. So at least you will have the necessary financial wherewithal. You will have the necessary financial background, whereby now you can take a plunge into whatever kind of crazy idea you're having in your mind. Is something. So as an employee, if you are a person with the frugal financial means, I think that working part-time or working in the spare time, that could be one of the ideas. That could be one of the ideas. Students, that even if you continue to save 2 lakh rupees per month, so 4 lakh rupees per year, and you work for 25 years, how much will you have? Can you afford to have 20 crore rupees? No, at the most 10 to 15. So only some plan in your mind that you want to collect, let us say 50 crore rupees or 30 crore rupees, a very small goal. So in that case, the appropriate kind of a plan has to be thought by yourself, because you know your limitation. You know where your whether you have a spare time, whether you have that kind of energy. So if you have that energy, you have that resolve to go into a venture, then I think there is a word in filmy line, that's the Kyanat, that helps you. The entire the universe comes out in your support. So friends, that resilience, that confidence, that sense of making it. So once it is in within you and you strong mind, nothing can stop you. So you may sound simple, but your background will be so strong that the person after a few days will come to understand this man is of a different metal. He's not the ordinary man. He's not the ordinary man. So you have to make yourself an extraordinary man. Then only the degree is this thing. Civil service in customs. I left because I had confidence. I thought this kind of a money I cannot collect. And in Bombay, if you are employed as in Bombay, if you are a customs person during emergency, do you think 100 crore rupees could have any small money? It would have come. It would have come because I was only 24. So long life to, but I didn't. So motivate your own. See, nobody can demotivate you. Nobody can motivate you. It is yourself. So if your mind is attuned to achieving, if your mind is attuned to achieving, so then it means you are a person of a different material. God has created you differently. And then your the next generation will remember that we had a father, mother, brother like this. So this is you have to create that kind of a stuff within yourself. Books, writings, these can help you, but not much. But I still did the government job. I was in the government job, but I did multiple jobs. So I made the best of my life. Government job, there were plenty. I have been with 60 organizations. Can you believe 60 organizations? Maybe I'm counting less, could be 70. I was trying to list up. I worked for maybe 70. Written books. Go to Google, write CL Bansal, you'll find written books, corporate governance. When it was not there, and your institution was thinking of instituting an award, national award on that. For the first time, and nobody, you had a center in Bombay. They could not create as to what is the strategy, and how to create a methodology for evaluation of corporate governance practices of various companies. I was taken as a consultant. Your organization, working for Delhi University, I created that the first time. 3 years I was with Company Secretary as a consultant, and that time we instituted that, and it's going on. So many newer things. So and there's no book on that. When how to assess a company's quality of corporate governance practices is not. There's no manual on that. But mine was the first PhD. Wonder. When I did it in '83, corporate governance was not there in India. Nobody had heard of corporate governance. '86 I got my PhD from Delhi School of Economics, and my teacher was a Bengali. He used to tell me that how could you have this crazy idea in your mind? Will it ever be there in our country? Will you ever be able to tell somebody that you have done corporate governance? You will be ashamed. Nobody will understand. And now the entire world is talking about that, and it's now gone. Now it is bankruptcy. It is bankruptcy. Absolute priority. People read only the procedure. People don't go into the substance. You have to go into the substance. Corporate mortality one must study. The one must know the corporate mortality. Why do the companies die in the world? If you do not know that game, companies are created for putting them to death. Chicken are not created to grow into big birds. They have to be ultimately slaughtered. So some companies are created for the purpose of slaughtering them. That is also one of the objectives of setting up a company. Companies are sold to be sold off. Companies are established to be merged with others. So establishing companies is also one of the lines of business. Friends, you have to read more and more and interact with different categories of people. Your Institute of Corporate Affairs. So I'm surprised how we can run a program on independent directors, the one who has not studied 100 books on strategy, the one who has not covered the areas of, let us say, the bankruptcy, the area of international commercial laws, international commercial arbitration, unless you have gone through and on your own. There's no teacher. Teachers know very little. I've seen. Now we are going to the next answer, that is the learning. So find your own way. Nobody can show you the way. You have to find your own way. Know your competitive advantage. Be flexible and be well prepared. So this is the takeaway of whatever I have written. Now I'm going into this area. The opportunities lie in demonstrating creativity and perseverance. So where are your opportunities? They lie in demonstrating creativity and perseverance, expanding your network. Some student was saying networking is one of the best things to be done in today's times. Taking smart risks. Take smart risks. Super risks. You can take risk anytime, but smart risks. Maybe if you succeed, then you never know how much. Then the benefits. The benefit from qualitative and quantitative relationships. So you must not have a crowd around you. You must not have a crowd around you. I know one person in our own institution. He used to say, okay, I should become this. I should become this. There should be a big designation. To hell with it. No. Later on, you will say, ultimately, it lies in brass tacks. How much do you have? So your directorship, your this thing, that thing, doesn't matter at all. You know, I'm wealthy. You can buy anything on earth. So then why care for anybody's directorship or secretaryship, this thing, that thing? I met one of the advocate on record of the Supreme Court. He had come to take a lecture in Rohtak. And then he was saying that, sir, where do you say this? And then somebody said that the person you're talking about is a person of this much of net worth. Immediately he became jealous. He became jealous. And then he was saying, how could a person create this money unless he's into corruption? Learn from others. Others are not always negative. There are lots of people who are positive and still they have succeeded. You need not succeed, gain success through being negative. You are negative. That's why you are jealous. This is jealousy. Learn from the person who has done this. Keep sharing and enhancing your knowledge. This is an asset people do not have in today's world. They don't have. Components of vision of your business strategy is vision. So it is looking into the future. Which business is going to succeed? Can you believe that in Silicon Valley there are houses, there are family people who provide you a bunk bed. They provide you a bunk bed. Bunk bed means that free bed, because you are an entrepreneur, you are going to have a startup. They'll provide you all help. They will not charge any money except on food. They say, okay, stay in this place. Food you have to buy. Otherwise, we'll provide you full support. And as long as you are here and trying to find out something new in the line of business, then we'll support you. It means people will listen to your ideas, vision, so that the others are convinced this person will do something great. You must have a goal in your mind. You must know whether for your idea, are there any customers? How much is the competition in this line? If there are too many people in this particular area already, avoid. How much finances will be required? And do you have those kind of finances? Or is there somebody to help you out with that kind of money? What are the legal formalities? If there are too many, there's an area in public policy which says that the cost-benefit analysis must be made. Some laws are made by the government without much exercise of brain. so that the implementation costs more. So they say, okay, violation is much more profitable than compliances. So if that is the kind of law the government has framed, obviously there will be many more violations than compliances. The rate of compliance depends on whether this is providing comfort, whether it is providing some financial help to the people. If your law is kind of more expensive, rather than helping a person earn more money, then to help with this law is going to be violated. And this is the kind of thinking in our country. So people do not know as to how to make the laws. So the laws have to be made in a manner that the cost-benefit analysis, go into Google, you'll find cost-benefit analysis of formulation of laws. Marketing. So marketing, do you know the technique? Do you know negotiation skills? So do you have the patience to deal with a tough person? And how about the taxation? So these are the matters you have to think of. Vision and goals, list of the following with an explanation for the implementation and define long and short-term goals and the special focus on the letter. So this is, so once you have an idea, take a pen and a copy and then write up the kind of idea you have and what is the explanation for that. Justify that. What do you want to achieve as an entrepreneur? So think of that, write an answer. Do you want to involve your family in the startup? Is there somebody to help you out in your family? Write the answer to that. Is there any special reason for setting up your startup? Think of that, write the answer. Later on discuss with some senior person or experienced person. How large or small you want your business to be? Are you going to be small or a middle-sized business or a bigger business? Think of that. Will you employ some persons and will you have sufficient resources to bear that expense? Some people don't want to spend money. So if you have to employ some person tomorrow, will you not feel the burden that you have employed so many people and they are eating up? I was secretary of Daewoo Motors, and the boss one day talked to me. He said, you company secretaries are an expense. Think of that. Companies think that you are an expense. You don't add value to the company. You are simply a sucker. So if this is the kind of thinking in the market, so believe me, it's not a good. Compliances are okay, but just because making money from procedures, that is hardly any way of making the money. Because once the procedures are removed, things are opened up more, then where is the scope for this kind of practice? Because we are still into more of bureaucracy and more into compliances. So that is why there are two cost centers, chartered accountant and a company secretary. Both are cost centers. They are an expense item. Can you manage on your own? So if the answers to these broadly, some answers may be in the negative, and then do the analysis whether the positives are more and the negatives are less. If the positives are more, take a plunge. Customers. Identify both in numbers and character. Check which of them is greater challenge. Do you have the strategy to tackle the both? Finance is the lifeline and a big hurdle unless appropriate strategy is made to obtain funds from dependable sources, including your private ones. Angel investors and crowdfunding is commonplace in India, provided the project is found worth investing. Cost, but that also costs because after all, your money could have also earned some money. So think of these probabilities. Legal business formats, I'll not explain any of these, you are aware. So I just jotted down the headings. The sole proprietary organization is one of traditional partnership. Okay, I'm also a company secretary, because it saves a person in the sense that compliances are also important, because in our country, which is compliance obsessed, which is a compliance obsessed country. So in that case, it's good. Good luck to all the company secretaries. Compliances help make one earn the livelihood. Partnership, one person company. Sir, don't take me back. Let us move forward also at times. Customers and competition, finance, and then the vision. Vision is very important. Vision and goal is very, very important. So what do you want to have? Time when the rate of interest used to be 12% on the NSEs. So I used to discuss with my that can we have at least for the next 30 years, every year if we may buy these NSEs of 3 lakh rupees. So how much will be gathered by the time we retire? So these are the crazy ideas. Nobody ever thought of like this. I heard a younger person putting money into the PPF, and he gave me the calculation, mind-boggling. And if this person is so clear in the financial, he's an engineer basically, but if he thinks so clearly about finance, so obviously he'll succeed, and a few crore rupees will not be a problem with him. So friend, marketing, I have already spoken on that. So test the market strategy. Now there are very many people who are marketing consultants, but take the advice with a pinch of salt. Their advice may not worth what they are saying, because they are only consultants. They may not have practically evaluated the implementation of the ideas that they have in their mind. So selection of right methods and tools. I'm not from marketing. There are very good people in marketing who help lots of people in rural marketing and other areas. Anyhow, but marketing is not my niche area. Strategy for marketing, niche strategies such as rapid launch, then expansion, optimization. So these kind of differentiation strategy that your product must be totally different from those of others. The staff, product and staff, the product staff quality, because sometimes the product may be okay, but then your staff may be really good in the sense that they have such a persuasion and the convincing capabilities that any customer will be floored. The performance, the image, your design, the lifespan of the product. So service, if you are into the process, because basically we computer secretaries are into the service. So in that case, what is the quality of the product? What is the image? What is the design? The same as applied to this product and the stuff. And this will apply to the service image. So what is the image that you have created in the market? So what are your design, symbol, events, testimonials? So these are the kinds of things. Now, so this is the first part of the presentation, which was basically about the creation of a new enterprise. I do not know whether it is relevant for most of the company secretaries who think in terms of employment, but setting up the practice. So in that case, it may be helpful, because setting up practice is almost like having a venture of your own. So this is maybe some of these points. Many of these things, although these have been written on the basis of my experience, not from a kind of a book published by anybody. So this is yours. And similarly, in the case of insolvency, I'm writing a full-fledged commentary on the law and process of insolvency, not only the law, insolvency and bankruptcy as such, and how this law has developed all over the world, and not in India. India is one part, and we still are learning a lot of things. So insolvency and bankruptcy, so some of the ideas to you may sound slightly different, because these are nowhere. So please cooperate with me, and if ever there's a doubt, because in this slide, it is almost the gist of the entire insolvency and bankruptcy code. So I started with insolvency and what is the difference, how this is done, and the process of the corporate insolvency resolution. So this is what I have covered in this slide. So I think I should be able to finish time. So now, I've written that many people consider insolvency and bankruptcy are interchangeable. This is a kind of a misimpression that they are interchangeable. They are not. Not in capital letters. They are not. Rather, they are totally different. These are totally different. Insolvency is the inability of a debtor to pay. I read one novel on insolvency. There's one novel on insolvency. Good dialogues over there. He said that okay, I did not bring about my insolvency, and the people are sitting on my head claiming their money. So he was asking the wife, darling, what offense did we commit? And the king is saying that you go to jail. She said, no, maybe we were not frugal with our money. I don't remember, because that is one dialogue I have written in my book also. I started my book with that dialogue between the husband and the wife. So that he was saying that why should the king send me to jail? He said, because you are saying inability, but the writers are saying that it is not inability. You are unwilling. So inability means unwillingness. In technical language, sir, I'll send you the name and the dialogues. Because I have to go to my laptop. So from there, I'll send it to you. I'll send to Shruti, and Shruti will forward it to you. So the word inability, when you use the word inability of the debtor to pay, means he is unwilling to pay, as a matter of fact. He says it matters not. It matters not to a creditor that you are unable. The fact is that you are not paying him. If you are not paying him, that he will consider this to be your unwillingness to pay. So it is not the inability for a creditor, it is your unwillingness, because you are ruining him. So he will not take a technical view of what is the definition, inability of a debtor. Your inability means your unwillingness. Sir, you are not paying me, because on the due date you have not paid me. So it means I have to go somewhere. There must be some agency to help me out, because this man is unwilling to pay. He is not unable, he is unwilling to pay. So therefore, American authors say that when we use the word inability of a debtor to pay, it should always be construed as the what is known as the unwillingness. Notwithstanding that the inability to pay may arise due to temporary mismatch between inflow and outgo of payments. It may be unfortunate. I may suppose I'm a businessman. Obviously, the cycle of payments coming to me and the cycle of payments which I have to make, these may not match. I have sales. I have everything. Sales are good. Plenty of customers, but flow of funds within my business is later. It comes late than my the dues becoming payable earlier. So there's a mismatch between 2 days, when I get the money and when the liabilities due proper. If these do not match, then obviously in that case the businessman did not plan properly. He should have matched his liabilities and his own receipt of money. So if the outgo and the inflow, these dates do not match, it is a unwillingness. You say it is inability, it is unwillingness. So if this is insolvency, if you are unwilling to pay and the creditor goes to the officer or the agency which has been appointed to adjudicate bankruptcy, ultimately what the court will say, you are bankrupt. So bankruptcy is an official declaration. It's an official declaration of insolvency of a debtor by an adjudicator as a remedy to restructure. So there are 2 remedies in the mind. Our company law, basically, and the company law and the insolvency law of the entire world, firstly says there should be first restructuring or reorganization. Don't kill. We always use the term going concern, sale on a going concern based, going concern. So it means the company should be resuscitated. It should be restructured, and the concerned enterprise, in order, or ultimately, if it's not possible to restructure, to reorganize, then the last option is the liquidation. Distribute the assets among the various creditors. But the first should be the corporate rescue. It should be rescue. Rescue should come first. It should gain priority for liquidation. Liquidation basically will happen, but it will be the most unfortunate. The positive thing will be to take steps. So resolution professionals are always instructed that if there's a possibility of resuscitation, of restructuring the organization, please make attempts to do that. Don't kill. If the life can be saved, if the corporate can be saved, then please try to do that. And then liquidation is always the choice. Liquidate, sell off the assets, realize the money and distribute. Insolvency shall always precede bankruptcy. So insolvency comes first. So if insolvency is the cause, bankruptcy is the consequence. It's a cause and effect relationship between insolvency and bankruptcy. So the cause is the insolvency. So there's a causal relationship between insolvency and bankruptcy. So bankruptcy is the outcome. Liquidation follows bankruptcy and involves the process of winding up of the concerned debtors undertaken. So liquidation is the ultimate. It means now the killing is, organization is going to be killed. Jobs will be lost. Basic concern in any economy when bankruptcy is to be undertaken is that how to save the employees, how to prevent disruptions in the economic progress of the country. Because too many liquidations really will be a signal that something is really wrong economic structure or the businesses are not being handled properly. One may be insolvent without being bankrupt. Sir, everybody. In the law, bankruptcy is for everybody. Individual, partnership firms, corporates, so for everybody. But for the individual and partnerships, the agency which does the adjudication is separate. So that recovery tribunal. But for the corporates, it is the NCLT. So two different agencies. For people like you and me and the partnership firms, it is the DRT. And for the corporates, it is the NCLT. One may be insolvent without being bankrupt, but not be bankrupt without being insolvent. So this is the thing to be understood. You may not be bankrupt, but because you are unable, the point is you are unable, you are helpless. And the party is also helpless. Other parties also help. I'm claiming 100 rupees from you. I know you have assets. You have assets. You have everything. You are having sales, but the money is not flowing into your organization at appropriate intervals. And I'm frustrated. So it means you may survive, but I won't survive. After all, the credit, the availability, the flow of credit in the economic veins of a country, the flow, like the blood flows into our body. Similarly, the credit should continue to flow regularly. Otherwise, there will be a heart attack. Somebody will suffer. So either the debtor suffers or the creditor suffers. The law says our law is a creditor-oriented law. There are two types of insolvency laws. Sir, actually bankruptcy is called the creative disruption. When I'm insolvent, actually what I want to say is, sir, please now, because otherwise my assets will go waste. Assets will go waste. Maybe there is some other person who can handle these assets better. So if he wants to take my organization, let him take it. Let him pay the price and sell it off, and then I will pay the amount to my debtors. So this is done by the individual, but on his behalf, it is done by an official agency, which may be the DRT in case of individuals or partnership firms, where it will be the NCLT in case of corporate persons, joint stock companies and LLPs. So we'll come to this. We'll come to each and of these things. Friends, you'll see, because I have prepared undischarged man who has not been released from his responsibilities. As long as the process of insolvency, CRP, is going on, he remains undischarged. Ultimately, when everything is completed, either the reorganization occurs or the liquidation has been done, finally this man will be released from all his obligations. So he can start his business life on a fresh slate. So it is a kind of so he becomes discharged. Discharge means actually, there's a funny phrase going amongst the Marwadis. They say the route to prosperity goes via bankruptcy. The route to prosperity goes via bankrupt. Once or twice in your life, you will never become rich. Yes, liquidation for insolvency is a problem that bankruptcy is designed to solve. So the problem. So insolvency is a knot, and this knot will be opened by bankruptcy. So bankruptcy is the solution. Phenomena deposits, pay to the other, then take deposit from the other, pay to the pyramid is a scheme. Pyramid is a scheme where a company keeps taking money from one party to pay to the other. And as long as this chain process continues, all right, the person seems to be successful, but it is ultimately bound to fail. So it is a pyramidal thing. And borrowing from the market, but the bank to finance me will ultimately it will fail. So the person in a financial, then the helper himself may be. The banks are because providing to organizations which were basically which were insolvent. They were having problems, but they continued to provide funds. And financially, what happened? The company went down. There are three types of transactions done by wise and people who are very naughty. So these are known as the doing undervalued transactions. Undervalued transactions. These are terms. Earlier, these happened even in the Presidency Towns Act 1929 and 1909, and the Provincial Towns Insolvency Act, which is 1929. So these terms are also there, and from those laws, these have been brought to the present code of 2016. These terms are what are known as the entering into undervalued transactions. Secondly, making preferential transactions, and thirdly, doing the extortionate transactions. Three transactions are fraudulent transactions. So we call this as, that is why in the bankruptcy code, these are known as the avoidable transactions. So these transactions are done by scheduled people. These transactions are done by very scheduled people. You must be that in this particular law is applicable, that if the transactions have been made between related parties and the transaction was done 2 years preceding the date of commencement of the law will be applicable. It means if the transaction was done before 2 years, beyond 2 years, in that case, you can become a consultant in providing consultancy to these type of people that no transactions, that is contract. the Drishti is also saying the same. So what to do? Give me a minute. Hello. How about now? Am I audible now? Participants, can you hear me now? Or is the problem persisting? So can I? So what I was saying, that why the consultant, the success of a consultant is to read law thoroughly, so that you can give. Now obviously the customer will pay you only when you give a advice. When you can give advice to a person whereby, let us say, he can make 50 crore rupees, so then he will not mind giving you 50 lakh rupees or a crore of rupees. So this is how many of these shrewd people, they use the law of insolvency and bankruptcy for even reaping benefits. Now people have become more shrewd. But in the olden times, all the insolvencies were manipulated in such a manner that despite the insolvency, the priciest, the most valuable kind of assets were removed from the site. And you are then, officially you are a discharged insolvent. You have been discharged, but you have the assets. You are insolvent. You have the assets. Live in some other town. Why live in some other town? So you shift to some other town where people will call you a saint or a rich man. But in the previous destination, you have been declared bankrupt. So people have that kind of a strategy. That where is the harm in becoming insolvent? At least we have some assets out of, say, 3,000 crore rupees. You see many people, those who have run away from this country, they are enjoying life. They have got the citizenship of some other country. Because if you go to Google, there are many countries who are willing to sell their passports. They are willing to give the citizenship at a very low price also. So this is how the prosperity is designed through the route of insolvency. Financial insolvency arises, I've already explained that, when the debtor is unable to pay its debts on the due date of payment. Now, so it means that there can be two types of insolvencies, financial insolvency and the balance sheet insolvency. Our law says obviously. Hello. 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 Can I start? Participants, start my interaction. Because I'm getting a message. I think there's some problem with the bandwidth, because automatic message is coming that, okay, we're starting. So I was saying that insolvency code. It is financial insolvency is provided. The other kind of insolvency is a balance sheet insolvency. Balance sheet insolvency is one where the liabilities exceed the assets. Where the liabilities exceed the assets, despite the capacity of the debtor to pay the debts. Hello. 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 Should we start? About the balance sheet insolvency. The balance sheet insolvency has been discussed by many scholars in America. They said the balance sheet insolvency means the person is having his liabilities more than the assets. But it is not, your insolvency is not visible. That you have the capacity. You have the capacity to pay the debts. But the point is, as I was explaining the pyramid scheme, that in this case, when the liabilities are more, obviously you cannot write off the time, what is known as the date of reckoning, when your business ultimately will collapse. It's a matter of time that business collapses. One date is going to collapse. That is why when the assets are lesser than the liabilities, so in that case, the company is in a technical position, what is known as the likely to become bankrupt. And then experts have to find out that whether the liabilities are more. If the liabilities are more, then the only solution is to take it to the what you call the hospital. It means the bankruptcy hospital. So in that case, whatever is available today may not remain available after a month. So sooner the better. In the case of balance sheet insolvency, rather than waiting for the day of reckoning to arrive, immediately some rescue operations will be started by the adjudicator. So intervention of the adjudicator becomes necessary. Creditors must immediately approach, or the corporate debtor himself can tell the disease better. So you must have seen that three parties can reach the adjudicator. These three parties are the financial creditors, the operational creditors, and at times the corporate debtor himself, the person who is sick. So sick party, the insolvent party itself can make an application to the adjudicator that I may be declared bankrupt. So three parties. So this balance sheet insolvency, the problem, the disease is known to the patient. So this patient means the business party, the corporate. He should go to the adjudicator and say, I may be declared bankrupt. I do have more liabilities, and with the passage of time, the situation will worsen. So that is why Scumpeter was an economist, and he said that declaration of bankruptcy basically is a really good cure for disease, for organizations, for enterprises suffering from the disease of insolvency. It is known as creative disruption. So this law is a law of creative disruption. Creative in the sense that the present organization is unable to use its assets to the optimum. And there may be some other artists, there may be some other management teams which may handle the situation better. So then transfer these assets and liability to some other party because they can take good care of it. The previous management has failed to handle the situation in a very satisfactory manner. So balance sheet insolvency, the symptom is firstly visible only to the corporate debtor. Whereas in the case of financial insolvency, the indicators are to the creditors. Creditors come to know of immediately because today is the date of payment. First installment has not been. Installment is not being paid. It means the party is financially insolvent. He may say whatever. It means the party is not meeting its liabilities. So time has come to go to the adjudicator, the NCLT. But in the case of balance sheet insolvency, sometimes outwardly the patient seems to be absolutely okay, but he is suffering from an inherent problem, which will come to the surface after the passage of some time. But by that time, the evil may have become a cancerous. The disease may have spread to all the other organs of the body. Therefore, before that malafide happens, immediately the adjudicator, or rather the corporate debtor should approach the adjudicator that I may be declared insolvent. Insolvency only becomes an issue when a creditor seeks to collect and the debtor cannot pay what is due. So that time the matter comes to the surface. It becomes obvious that the party is insolvent. Now we are going into the historical aspect that there was a piecemeal approach. We had a large number of laws dealing with bankruptcy. So there was no uniform approach to resolving the problem. And all the steps taken by one adjudicator were not consistent with the kind of decision taken by the other. So there was an internal conflict in the area of law. Therefore, it was necessary that there should be only one law rather than having a large number of laws on the same subject. Why not have one law whereby a uniform remedy could be provided to all the suffering parties? Based on that thinking, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code was enacted to provide for a, now read these words, consolidated and comprehensive legislation to deal with insolvency of all types of debtors. So whether the debtor is an individual or a partnership firm or a corporate debtor. So in this case, a consolidated legislation, which is very comprehensive, almost all aspects of insolvency and bankruptcy have been considered in this law. The code takes within its purview individuals, traditional partnership firms, associations of persons such as LLPs, and the joint stock companies, whether they are domestic or international. The international bankruptcy has still not been made operational in our country, although we are thinking that with the passage of time, appropriate rules and regulations will be formed in order to handle even the international insolvencies. Appropriate administrative, regulatory, and adjudicatory. At three levels, changes have been made. Administrative level, so regulatory level, because there is special administrator for handling the insolvency, which is the IBBI, and there is a regulation, IB code, and the adjudicator is the NCLT, and professional bodies. So now we have the insolvency professional bodies like our Institute of Computer Security. So it does have a separate, dedicated organization for that. These are all my views. What I've written on the basis of my understanding. So this write-up is me only. So whatever is written here is my thinking on that. So the professional bodies have been set up to look after different aspects related with insolvency. So there are now 5 different organizations dealing with bankruptcy. Firstly, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, it is the administrator. So it is responsible for administration of the IB code, number 1. There is also a regulation, this law which we are now going through, that is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of 2016. And then there is an adjudicator. So there are 2 adjudicators. One adjudicator is the NCLT for LLPs and the corporate bodies. And then the second is for the individuals, traditional partnership firms. This is the DLT. So there are 2 adjudicatory bodies. Then we have a cadre of professionally professionally what is known as the qualified people who are known as the insolvency professionals. In our country, we call them as the resolution professionals. In America, they are known as the insolvency IPs, but we call them as RPs, resolution professionals. So these are the people who have passed an examination conducted by the IBBI, and thereafter they get a license, so they can practice. So when the insolvency is done, the administrative part is handled by the resolution professionals, who are either the chartered accountant, because they also have a professional body, and the insolvency professional agency of the ICSI handles the training, etc., of the resolution professionals. So we have 5 organizations dealing with the implementation of various aspects of insolvency and bankruptcy code. Now, this particular law has changed the focus from the debtor in possession to creditor in control. What is the meaning of debtor in possession? The earlier laws, that prior to 2016, whatever laws operated in our country, what happened was that the debtor himself used to go to the court. The debtor used to go to the court, or sometimes the creditor used to take him to the court. So it was a debtor's asset in possession. Basically, debtor, even if the insolvency was declared, the organization remained under the control of the debtor. It remained under the control of the debtor. So it means the same management which had brought about that unfortunate situation was not expelled from the organization. They continued in possession. So that is why we call this as debtor in management in possession. It means the management of the debtor. When we say debtor in possession, the management, if you are a corporate, your management, your board of directors is still continuing. And these are the people who have brought in this kind of a unfortunate situation. It is because they mishandled. They did not govern your organization properly. That is why now you are met with insolvency. So these debtors have to be removed from the scene. In their place, you must have the creditors in control. As a matter of fact, when we talk of the corporate governance, basically, the corporate governance can be much better if the creditors are in control, because the creditors are more concerned with the viability or with the solvency of the organization rather than the management. You must have seen in the corporate governance, what is the issue? The corporate governance issue is that the insiders are sitting and they know, because from year to year, they will continue to be on the board. They will continue to have the reins of the organization in their hand. Nobody is going to change them. Therefore, there is a kind of a incumbency factor. Once you become the king and you know that nobody is going to remove you, so you become autonomous. So the management are autonomous. And if you allow them to remain, continue to hold the reins of that business enterprise, more misfortune will visit that organization. Therefore, the creditor should be controlled. The entire insolvency process is handled by the creditors committee of creditors, COC. So that is why the creditors become supreme compared to the debtors and the management of the defunct or the insolvent organization. Creditors in control means the entire process of insolvency is handled by the creditors, not by the management team of the debtor. This is known as the creditor in control. You can even do a project on that. So making a comparison between debtor in possession versus the creditor in control regulatory regime. So our law is creditor in control regulatory regime. Our law is of this kind. The nature of insolvency law is creditor in control. Committee of creditors, it will handle everything. It will take all decisions now. The management is made to step aside. They are no more. No, they are doing fine. Actually, the main problem is what I have seen now from the research in this field, that our judicial bodies and even the practitioners are ordinary. They are ordinary scholars. They have not studied the subject deeply. This subject is new to our country. This subject is new to the country. And secondly, what I have seen, despite the efforts of the IBBI, they are the regulators, the administrator. They have tried to tell the universities, research bodies that please, you can set up a chair, you can have a program on research in insolvency and bankruptcy. Nobody has taken up the proposal because people are only pursuing the degrees. Because in any area, unless you do a research, the concept clarity will not come about. Mugging up various concepts is not knowledge. It's just because you are making yourself worthy of entering into a profession. But this is definitely not a thing which, because the increase in knowledge means you have an overall idea. Even as a judge, suddenly, if you are put into the judge and your knowledge is just like an average person, so what value addition will you make to making your judgments? And that is why in the case of this ArcelorMittal versus SR Steel, the judgment given by the NCLAT, it has to be totally reversed by the Supreme Court. The entire world follows the absolute priority rule. And the NCLAT said, no, our rule that we will follow will be the what you call the relative priority rule. It means all creditors will be treated alike. Every creditor will be just like any other creditor. So whether you are a secured creditor, secured creditor, unsecured creditor, you sail in the same boat. How could it be? If I am a secured creditor, I gave a loan to you by taking your assets under mortgage. You mortgage your assets with me, and that's why I'm charging a lower rate of interest from you. It may be 9%. But if there is some unsecured creditor to whom we have not given security of any kind, obviously the rate of interest charged by him will be 14%. It means one party is knowingly taking lower risk than the other party who, in greed of having earning more of interest, they have taken no security at all. How can you now say as a judge that you stand on the same even pedestal? They are not the same. They are dissimilar. So in that case, absolute. In one category, absolute parity. You are all secured creditors, then you are one organization. You are unsecured, you are another. Party is secured, shareholders, you stand in the line, last in the line. You are residuary holders. So the insolvency tax and the implementation, the judicial decision should be done based on a scholarly knowledge of the discipline. Unless the scholarly knowledge is there, you have not studied a subject for 8 to 10 years or not done any research, then just adding some degree or a law degree will not add to your understanding or giving of a quality decision. So now the basic feature of our law is to aim at a resolution and revival So, as I said, we attach more value, we give more significance to resolution and revival of the organization rather than really killing it. Killing means liquidation. So, try to resolve, try to revive. Maybe some employment will be saved. The company is closed, many people become unemployed. It affects that thing. Assets go waste, and then obviously the many banks will fail. So, the foremost approach to insolvency should be to resolve and revive. The last option should be the liquidation. Sell off the company only when you think that it's a gone case. Nothing can be done. Now, this law has given the right of triggering of the insolvency resolution process to the creditors, whether they are secured, unsecured, financial, or operational, as well as the debtor. So whatever kind of creditor maybe they are associated with the debtor organization or the insolvent organization, any of these can invoke or trigger the insolvency resolution process. Anybody can approach the NCLT or the DRT. There is no bar. And if the corporate debtor himself realizes that my position is really bad, so let him get hospitalized. So let him go to the NCLT or the DRT to replace the existing management of the debtor in insolvency with an insolvency resolution professional. So company secretary is now, they pass the insolvency examination and then get the tag of insolvency resolution professional. And whenever any insolvency is declared, one insolvency resolution professional will be attached. So you will be the board. So you will be the board. So you will be managing. So the entire management team of the debtor organization or of the insolvent organization will be under the back end call of the IRP, insolvency resolution professional. Why? Because if he is not brought on the scene, if he is not introduced into the insolvent organization, the existing team will take away all the best assets. So this is known as the asset stripping. In order to prevent asset stripping by current management, it is essential that they are shunted out of the company and they are replaced by a trained insolvency resolution professional. So this is the role of insolvency resolution professional. It can be chartered accountant or a company secretary or a cost accountant having passed the insolvency resolution professional examination. So you become competent to discharge that responsibility. And moreover, this law has provided for a timeline, that there's a timeline. Within 270 days, the problem must be resolved. 270 days, 180 days to begin with, and then there is a provision for extension of 90 days. So the total resolution process has to be carried out within a total period of 270 days. What has been done? And now I want you to understand one thing. There are two types of debts. One is the financial debt, other is the operational debt. The legal thinking is that the operational debts and the government dues are always a very small amount. So in let us say in a loan of 10,000 crore rupees, the operational debts may be of 30 crore rupees. So very small amount of debts. Operational debts are always very small. Government dues are also very small. That is why the principal place has been given to the financial debt. So this is known as a waterfall mechanism. It is known as a waterfall mechanism. In the waterfall mechanism, a sequence of priority has been fixed by law, that who will rank number one, who will come at second rank, third rank, fourth rank, and at the last will be the shareholders. At the last will be the shareholders. And as a company secretary, that shareholder residuary holders. Yes, now it has been extended to 330 days, but now it is stopped. Now it is stopped due to COVID for 1 year. The IBC has been held in abeyance. Currently, it is held in abeyance. It is not operating. It's not operating. Government has put a bar on this to establish a clearly defined distribution of debtors' assets in accordance with the internationally accepted absolute priority rule, on which I have already commented. So we have devised the absolute priority rule. Yes, absolutely. So as per the waterfall mechanism, to provide for time-bound assessment, that is viability mechanism, to decide whether to dispose of the enterprise as a going concern or to liquidate the same. So if the organization is a going concern, then the effort should be to revive. So yes, absolutely. You are going through the law very carefully. So for that, this is really good. So as a going concern, but when it's a dead horse, don't flog it anymore, cremate it, bury it. So only in the last situation you have to liquidate, but make efforts to somehow resolve and revive. What is the setup? Although briefly I have pointed out, at the topmost there is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, which is a regulatory body vested with the authority to make regulations for implementation of the insolvency legislation and to overlook the insolvency professional agencies. So they have a dual role to, number one, to frame the rules. Yes, yeah, absolutely. So you are studying very carefully. That's good. That is good professional. So we'll have a very good professional once you pass out. So you will also add to the cadre of resolution professional. Regulatory authority. So this is the topmost regulatory body. It is for making the rules for implementation of the insolvency legislation and to overlook the professional agencies, insolvency professional agencies. And then the adjudication authorities. So two different adjudicated. The topmost is the National Company Law. They are responsible for the process of insolvency resolution or the liquidation of the corporates, including the LLPs. This is the National Company Law Tribunal and the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal at the top, and the final adjudication, that is at the apex level, is done by the Supreme Court of India. Similarly, in the case of individuals and partnership firms, there is a debt recovery tribunal, and as an appellate body, there is the debt recovery appellate tribunal to hear the appeals against the orders of the DRT. The Insolvency Professional Agency. Under the Section 3, Subsection 20 of the IB Code, Insolvency Professional Agency means any registered body with the board. So it has to be a registered body. Is the body these undertake the function of registration, development, training, governance, Yes, all the three. Very true. So they code of ethics written to their respective insolvency professional members in order to develop a cadre of competitive professionals. So all these three organizations, they have their own insolvency professional agencies, and they are Section 8 companies. They're all Section 8 companies. True again. The ICSI, ICSI, and the ICMA have set up Section 8 companies and registered themselves with the IBBI as insolvency professional agencies, respectively. Insolvency resolution professionals. These are the members of the respective professional bodies who have registered themselves as such after passing an examination conducted by the IBBI. Their main function is to act as a resolution professional and/or liquidators during the insolvency resolution process. These are appointed by the applicant or the NCLT. So the applicant can appoint them, or in case the adjudicator has given a direction to the IBBI to provide them with a RP, then the IBBI also makes a provision for that. The functions of insolvency professionals, basically they are trustees. They are trustees in the process of insolvency and liquidation. So as trustees, whatever functions are given to them, they are functions in trust. Actually, there has been a decision. It was a case of disciplinary case against one of the members of perhaps ICSI. It was a case of misconduct. He charged the fee in the name of a LLP. In the name of a LLP. Whereas the registration of insolvency professional is done as an individual. So the question, somebody complained about that. How could he in the name of a LLP? So this case was referred to the IBBI. The IBBI then obviously IBBI, it was the first case of its kind. Like you have raised the question, people are not very clear that they cannot function as a LLP. As an insolvency professional, you cannot be LLP. You have to be an individual. Later on, after taking your fees, you may be distributing amongst yourself in whatever manner. But you cannot take any payment in the name of, yes, only individual, but he took the payment in the name of the LLP. When he was hauled up before the IBBI, he said, sir, I was not aware. I'm sorry that I was not aware that the LLP or entity cannot take a payment. So then in that case, it was a case of exemption. IBBI said that we can understand. This is the first case. So basically, there was no intentional violation of the regulations. It is the first mistake, therefore we pardon with a warning that in future he will not repeat it. So therefore, so the takeaway is that if you are a LLP, let us say private company, so in that case the payments must be obtained in the name of the partner, that is the person who is a insolvency resolution professional, rather than taking the payment in the name of your LLP or private company. So avoid that, because that will be a act of indiscipline. IBBI may not later on let off people that easily, as has been the case in this first case of its own kind. Their functions include the foremost function, which I have not perhaps mentioned here, is publication of. So wherever there is a decision by the NCLT or the DRT that the establishment or the enterprise is being declared, is given for resolution of insolvency. So this publication has to be made. The order given by the adjudicator has to be papers that this organization has been ordered to be. That this particular organization has been put into resolution. Thereafter, the committee of creditors has to be constituted, and its meetings will be convened by the resolution professional. And this organization, this committee of creditors, is responsible 66%. Yes, very true. So they have to prepare a resolution plan for its consideration by all the members. Yes, so it has to be a public announcement, which I have not mentioned. I'm sorry for that. So thereafter, all the verification of financial statements will be carried out by the concerned debtor. The collection and collation of creditors' claims will be done in conjunction with the known as the information utilities. Appointment of value is to be made to undertake the valuation of assets and liabilities of the debtor. And you are yes, but the first is first. Sometimes see, even the best of people, you must be knowing in India there have been two senior advocates of the Supreme Court now who have been debarred from practice. The very famous people, R.K. Anand. You must have heard he was MP also. So he was hobnobbing with one of the clients, and his that conversation was taped by somebody. It was Anandji. So he was thereafter one person and another one was a senior advocate in the area of criminal law. Both of them were suspended, and they are not in practice anymore. And you are also aware that nowadays valuer examination has also been put in force. So you can be a registered valuer, because valuation of assets of the insolvent enterprise has to be done by the registered valuers. And they will evaluate the assets as well as the liabilities, determination of the financial position of the corporate debtor. So thereafter, so once all through the process, the basic responsibility of insolvency resolution professional will remain. No, we'll come to that. Moratorium is the adjudicator, so it is not a function of the insolvency professional. So we are right now into the kind of functions discharged by the insolvency professional. So he has to preserve the assets of the concerned enterprise, which is under insolvency, and then once the realization from sale of assets has been done, the assets will be distributed amongst the various claimants. So this is basically a snapshot of the kind of functions which have to be assigned, which have to be discharged by the insolvency professional. Information utility is a professional entry. Yes. Is registered with the IBBI under Section 210 of the Code to carry on the business of collecting, collating, authenticating, and dissemination of financial information pertaining to the debtor to serve as a evidence of default, and to maintain record of that which have been pledged, of the assets which have been pledged as collected against the secured contracts. So all the records, all the information pertaining to the corporate debtor is available with the information utility. So they have to register them with the IBBI. There's you have the registrars, etc. Similarly, these organizations, they must have a net worth of rupees 50 crore and not more than 49% of its paid-up capital or voting power be held directly or indirectly by persons resident outside India. So basically, these must be Indian organizations. With preponderant, not preponderant, but 51% of the holdings of the share capital. No, sir, this is the chartered accountant. Financial statements are to be audited by the chartered accountant. Information to IU may be provided by the financial or the operational creditors and the insolvency professionals. So this is the role of the information utility. Now we are into the corporate insolvency. So just a minute, please. So it is the process through which it is determined whether or not the person who has defaulted in the payment of debt is capable of payment, and then to decide about its eventual restructuring or liquidation. So you have to make an assessment from his total assets, whether he will be capable of making the payments, or ultimately it has to be liquidated. So this has to be decided through the CIRP. Insolvency resolution process is the recovery mechanism adopted by various authorized parties to approach the adjudicatory authority to facilitate the task of recovery from the defaulting debtor, who may be a startup, individual, partnership firm, limited liability partnership, or company. So this is applicable to all types of organizations, and this is basically a recovery mechanism. So this is not to punish anybody, but a recovery kind of a mechanism. It consists of two stages. First stage is called the triggering of the corporate insolvency resolution process, wherein the creditor is given the right to assess as to whether the business of the debtor is viable, so that steps may be taken to rescue and resurrect it. So the first is positive. So this, but first step is the positive thinking, that maybe there is a hope of rescuing the organization and resurrecting it. This is the first effort. So at the second stage, when the resolution process fails, then the collective body of creditors may decide to liquidate the business of the debtor, sell off its assets to realize the money, and then distribute the same among the various categories of creditors according to the waterfall mechanism as provided in the code. So this is the second stage. So ultimately, it's putting it to death, and then whatever is left, this is distributed among the claimants. So two stages. So what is the trigger for initiation of the CIRP? The trigger for initiating the CIRP consists of a default in the payment of the whole or a part of the financial or operational debt. So this is a default in the payment. So how much amount it is specified as 1 lakh rupee, which may extend to 1 crore rupee. So that is the, but it may be revised later on, but right now it is 1 lakh rupee, and the highest so far is 1 crore rupee. So in that case, the initiation will be done. Trigger, financial creditor, that is the person to whom a financial debt interest is owed, and includes a person to whom such amount has been legally assigned or transmitted, and also an allottee from whom finance has been raised under a real estate project. So in this, okay, thank you. So it is a housing project. So if some raised by making an allotment, okay, thank you. So the allotted in these housing projects, they have also been included as a financial creditor by virtue of an amendment. Operational creditor is a person to whom a debt is owed in respect of supply of goods or services, including the person to whom such debt has been assigned or transferred, and includes the dues payable to the employees and governmental dues. So this is the operational creditor. The corporate debtor may also trigger the CIRP by making an application to the NCLT in that behalf. So three parties are competent to invoke the CIRP. Thank you. You are into too much of details, which I did not, because I should have mentioned sections also, so you know it, and you are reminding me of that. Thank you so much. Then method of triggering the CIRP. Any of the creditors of the corporate debtor may file an application before the NCLT for initiation of corporate insolvency resolution process. Within 14 days of the making of application of the NCLT shall either accept or reject the application on account of any deficiency, or there being no default, or the pendency of any dispute about the payment of the operational debt, or any payment of debt before any adjudicatory body in case of operational debt. Rejecting the application, an opportunity shall be given to the applicant to remove the deficiency in the application, besides notice of hearing. I have to firstly finish the presentation. To remove the deficiency in the application, besides notice of hearing in case of claim default, the date of acceptance of application shall be the date of commencement of the CIRP. So I think you have all already read the subject. So I do not know what was the need to ask to speak on this. So you're all already knowledgeable on this. Therefore, it should have been different. So in that case, the closures, it should have been more research-based. I could have spoken easily on the research, because procedural aspect I don't find very interesting. These may be for earning money for professional practicing people. So why I do not provide? Should I? No, sir. I've not seen any kind of a thing, because every day effect of working. See what happens. The COVID has affected. We have been speaking. We are a panel of speakers on the World Bank behalf. We had a program on force majeure, but there was no demand by the audience for any kind of views of the panel members about IBC impact of COVID, then why it has been put on hold by the central government. I think the entire thinking has been, World Bank is also concerned because of force majeure. Many projects have been held up. The biggest impact of IBC was on employment. And all aware that currently the employment scenario in the corporate sector is not good. It's absolutely negative. And if the insolvencies are continued, you must have noticed and seen in the news that our this quarter's economic performance has gone down by 25%. And if this kind of a situation continues, we are a big country with a large population of which a large number is employable, and if the corporates are closed one after the other, it will have a chain reaction on employment. So, for this you have to kind of what I say, detach. This is a kind of detachment. You have to detach yourself. What I'm saying, I think now your institution also, they should be focusing more on along with corporate governance, because the current research which is going on in the developed world is focusing more on creditor governance of organization. We are moving from, because we have done too much, corporate governance will not improve, it will remain just like that. Because despite all the efforts in America and what to talk of our country, we have not done much for improving. You have seen only a few days back on LinkedIn, I found there was a write-up in various papers about independent directors signing in hold. They are leaving because the corporate governance in various organizations was not good, and they were fearing that they may be held responsible. So if the independent director, and you are depending on independent directors, and they themselves are scared, it means they are giving a certificate or indication to the government there is something wrong in the corporate sector of this country. And if everybody is for oneself, how will the employment come about? We are talking of the consultancies and all, unless the economy revives. So this particular IBC has to be put on hold. Go to Google, please go to Google and write my initial names, and then you'll find out. Sir, I don't keep, because I'm into currently programs are going on with IAMs because they have to complete their courses. Currently, I hardly get any time, but since I'm a company secretary, so in that case, I have to take up this thing because I've gone hoarse. I'm speaking continuously for a very long time, which at my age is not good. I should not strain myself. So, sir, CL Bansal. So, write CL Bansal on Google, you'll find. So, government and business, I've written on the financial markets institutions. It is available on then entrepreneurship, corporate governance, of course, then business laws. So now 3 different tabs on international commercial arbitration, in the international law of aviation, then international business laws, and the commentary on the practice and law of insolvency. So these are the things but right now I'm basically concerned with courses. By December, all these courses have to be completed. So that's why it may not be possible for me to keep myself abreast of all the new developments, but I keep studying. So I keep studying. So currently, I think IBC must remain on hold. No more insolvencies. No more insolvencies. NPA government, because only a few days back, there was a news that government of India is going to put more funds into various public sector banks, and they have now restructured the various mutual funds. Whereas because the large cap funds, they have been directed to put more to divert their money into the small cap and the mid cap. So then, see, I do not know, because the government is knowing better, because if the insolvencies are now declared, there will be a panic. So there will be a panic in the market. We are already in a bad shape, and the opposition is already sitting on the throat of the government. Then they will immediately start criticizing. So the government is also scared of that, because we are not unable to resuscitate the economy. There have been no steps, and even if you take steps, except for exploiting the middle class, there is no way. So how do you earn money? You have seen the income tax returns have not been filed. So these are the issues. So government has to be, because it is a politically sensitive issue. Killing companies, do you think the opposition will leave it like that? So the problem, public announcement of the CIRP is done by the IRP within 3 days of appointment in 2 newspapers. Suspension of the board of directors takes place. Actually, the role of there is one basically issue. This is known as the efficiency issues in corporate insolvency, which you are not told. Efficiency. I mean, what is efficient insolvency? Efficiency insolvency is not discussed in our law. Efficiency is so type 1 efficiency and type 2 efficiency. So you have to read that on your own. I mean, how to bring about, and then what is the method of developing the insolvency index in the world? People are already working, and they can tell you that this, like you tell a person by looking into his temperature, that this he's sick. So similarly, there is an index available. There is a strategy for preparation of an index of bankruptcy. So based on various criteria, so you can tell beforehand that your organization is going to go to dogs. So this is known as the finding out as to which are the companies likely to be attacked by insolvency in the nearest future. So that is going to be helpful. The procedural aspects can be taken care of, but if you can tell a company, you can pre-warn a company, I think that will be our contribution. We are basically procedural people. So procedural people, it's a good thing. But the point is, yes, Altman's method, there are many techniques, but how many people are really practicing in that area? How many people are in that area? And how many companies know about that? So unless scholars come into do some research work on this, so just writing that this is the procedure, I've seen even our own journal, there is no research article. This is simply on section, mugging up. Mugging up is not, okay, this profession is there. It is prospering on that basis. But see, even IBC has been put on hold. Company law changes are required, and they are making. So you are concerned with yourself, but the overall economy must improve. IBC has been put on hold for political reasons, number one. So management of the debtor is to report to the IRP and provide him access to all. You must have seen that earlier there was a thinking that the board of directors, sir, we are into a training of the top management. Basically, this is the top management. The persons who have to become chairman of the public sector units, they have to compulsorily undergo a training of 1 month. It is a rule of the government of India that unless they undergo official training by four institutions, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Kolkata, and MDI Gurgaon. So they are the officially recognized bodies which provide training for that. So once this is known as the advanced management program, for which you have to even visit abroad. You have to go minimum 7 to 8 countries you have to visit, where you see the management practices of different organizations, and thereafter, when there is a vacancy in the position of a chair of the public sector organization, then you can apply for that, and your application will be considered only after you have got a certificate from these organizations that you have attended the program. And it's a costly program. Currently, I think 2 lakh rupees is charged for that program. So we are into that kind of training. So I, being a member, I'm doing this training, but financial intake is not much. Anyhow, I must tell you, financial institutions dealing with the debtor shall furnish all the information to IRP. Then there is imposition of moratorium, constitution of the committee of creditors by the interim resolution professional. Then we go to the effect of moratorium. So this is the thing somebody had written, moratorium. Now I was looking into the nature of. No, it's basically to the US thinking. Because the US thinking, insolvency was there in vogue in 1790, and the US Supreme Court has given a judgment when they were in favor of a relative priority of creditors. Later on, after about 100 years, they changed their stand, and then we have adopted from there. We have come to that. Now, the moratorium, if you read the law carefully, you will find that there are 2 approaches to moratorium. In this case, moratorium, some people have the impression that the moratorium under Section 14 becomes effective immediately when the CRP, from the date of commencement of the resolution date. No, this is not like this. It has to be a conscious decision of the adjudicator. It is applicable. I was reading one commentary by a law firm. The law firm was saying that it is automatic. On Monday, they have written an article that it happens automatically. No, it is the wrong thing. Automatically is perhaps under Section 60. That is when you are ready to be liquidated. Because twice there is a reference to moratorium in the law of insolvency and bankruptcy. So this moratorium, which comes under 14, is not automatic. This is not automatic. Mr. Pushkar, what is the position now? Are you able to hear? Hello? Yes. So what I was saying that there is a in some quarters, that is particularly some law firms, they have been mentioning that this is automatic. It's not automatic. So under 14, there is nothing like automatic. It has to be consciously decided by the adjudicator. And the moratorium has to be decided by them. Then only it comes into effect. And the whole idea is to protect the assets of the debtor firm, so that these are not frittered away. So alienation, transfer, encumbrance, disposal of assets, all the legal rights. So these have to be protected. So it means it is a conscious decision of the adjudicator. Now, initiation or continuation of any legal proceedings against this. So this is also stopped. For actions cannot be taken to recover or enforce any security interest, recovery of any property by owner or lessor where such property is in the occupation or possession of the corporate debtor. That also cannot be demanded. Moratorium shall continue till the completion of CIRP. No, criminal. So no, sir. Criminal. Only the last night I was reading. Criminal things will continue. Criminal cannot be stopped. We are into the civil matters. These are all civil things. So things will not be stopped. Please come again. Discharge, bankruptcy and discharge order in. Somebody had asked a question. So, friends, I did not note down the case law. So that will be demanding too much from me right now. So auction will be held when the time comes, but right is meant stop. It means stop. Maintain the status quo and what you call as the action is taken under Section 138. The Supreme Court has taken a different view. Many people are not agreeable with that view. The negotiable instrument case, it is a civil matter. But as regards the arbitration process, in arbitration, one mistake which is there in the write-up of many of the law firms is that they say only the enforcement proceedings are put to a halt. The enforcement of the award is put to a halt. And some people have used the word execution. Execution and enforcement of the award are the same thing. So it means execution or enforcement of the 138 of negotiable instrument is a recovery. So in that case, obviously, it has to be halted. Guarantees, there's one personal guarantees. So about the personal guarantees of directors of the corporate debtor, what happens? So I was giving a commentary on all these points. Supreme Court in one case as during moratorium of moratorium, let us take an assessment. It's as I said, the word is status quo. Maintain the status quo. No action, nothing, because we want to preserve. And then the second stage will begin, because no action can be taken. The entire right has been given to the creditors. The IRP is only like a speaker. It has to find out as to what opinion, because he said that, okay, give your plans, resolution plans. And one legal view was that there may be n number of resolution plans, and all these plans have to be put by the RP to the committee of creditors. And it is their wisdom. So in their wisdom, whatever plan they consider appropriate, they may adopt it. A resolution professional is simply a person who goes according to the commands of the COC. So whatever decision they take, he cannot override those decisions. Except moratorium, not to terminate the supply of essential goods. This is the exception. Personal guarantees given by the directors of the company is not affected, as it is independent and coextensive and separate from that of the corporate debtor. Proceedings under Article 2, Article 226 as regards the jurisdiction of the High Courts, and Article 136 of the Constitution. So these are exceptions. Any application or transaction notified central government in consultation with the financial sector regulator will also continue. It will not be affected. Surety contracts, guarantee I think I've given a commentary on that. Guarantee contracts will continue. Please check. Because only last night I was writing some case on that. So what are the duties of the insolvency? I think I can skip over because it's a long presentation, and we are coming close to the end. The broader duty of the insolvency resolution professional is to protect the assets, and then to gather the information about the finances, assets, operations of the corporate debtor for ascertaining the financial position. And then he will also be asking the creditors to submit their claims. So he will receive the claims and collate them in category wise. Then he will appoint two registered valuers within 2 days of his own appointment to determine the liquidation value of the corporate debtor. Then constitutional committee of creditors, and to take all necessary actions to enable the debtor to continue as appointments. The plan has to be prepared by the creditors only. Why should any other third party know into the whole thing? There has to be a rationale. We cannot go by what is written. We have to apply our own mind. So in this case, because whenever there is a discussion before the judicial body, so in that case, the judicial body has to consider there may be deficiencies. Although the argument cannot immediately change the law, but later on, IDBI is there. So there's a wisdom in the argument given. So in that case, they modify the appropriate applicable regulation. That has to be done. But we cannot lose our wisdom whenever we are reading law, because the people I've seen, I've read a number of articles written by various people, and they're committing mistakes. Getting guided by a person who has a wrongful understanding of a particular provision, that is like committing a professional suicide. So avoidance of certain transactions, I have pointed out that certain transactions have to be avoided. Section 25(2) casts a duty on the insolvency professional to apply the tribunal for ordering the avoidance of certain transactions conducted during or before commencement of the insolvency. The object of avoidance is to prevent any adverse fallout of such transactions on the financial condition of the debtor and interest of the creditors. For avoidance of certain transactions, the court has prescribed a specified relevant period. There are 3 types of avoidable transactions, namely the preferential transactions, the undervalue transactions, and the extortionate transactions. 3 types of transactions. The preferential transactions are taken up in the law. They are given the first. Explain the preferential transactions are transfer of property or any other interest with intent to benefit the creditor, as compared to the position it would have been in the event of distribution of assets under Section 53, except any transfer made in ordinary course of business or which creates security interest in favor of the creditor. It means you are trying to benefit the creditor. It may be your own person, it may be related, not related, but your conscious intent, what is known as the mens rea. There is a guilty intent to give a benefit to that creditor. So you are transferring a property or some other interest to benefit. Maybe later on there may be collusion between the parties. So the debtor and the creditor who is being preferred, there may be collusion between these 2 parties. So that after the entire exercise is over, insolvency is over, then the assets which have been transferred to him, so some portion of it may be available to the debtor himself, who is now a discharged debtor, who is a discharged person. So but he will have, as I said, the route to prosperity goes by bankruptcy. So in this case, if a preferential transaction has been done, it must have been done on a quid pro quo basis. That you give me this much, I'm giving you this asset. I'm giving you a preference. So you enjoy this this meaty piece of property. Such transaction will be avoidable if it is made in the past 2 years preceding the commencement of insolvency. The separate question that why such a preference has been given to the financial creditors but not to the operational creditors. I think when we were discussing the operational creditors and the financial creditors, I have pointed out that in one of the Supreme Court judgments, it was mentioned that if you compare the claims of the financial creditors, these will be overwhelmingly larger than those put by the operational creditors. So that is why even the waterfall mechanism, it has been devised on the basis of understanding whose claims should be given preference. The larger claims who have actually given the finances. If I have disbursed the funds actually, if I have given the goods, there's some profit margin also. But if I have given you my finances, interest definitely is not coming to me. But my funds get stuck up, and I'm not going to get 100% of my funds. So in that case, the law says I will give the first place to the financial creditors because they have given actual. So these are coming. Fraudulent preference. This is basically the term fraudulent preference occurred in the insolvency laws which were there in 1909 and 1929. That is the provincial insolvency law and the presidency towns insolvency law. So they use the word fraudulent. If you look into the word fraud is a term from the criminal. If you look into the civil law, you'll find the fraud is a term from the civil law, where the term cheating is from the criminal law. So in our country, we consider the insolvency to be a civil kind of a law. It has nothing like a criminal. So there is no criminal connotation connected with the law. What I've done, I'm very sure.